Anakin Skywalker was brought into the Jedi Temple to become a Jedi much later than most of the Jedi of his era were usually allowed. Because of this, and along with how powerful he could become, Anakin had many more questions, many more frustrations, more emotions, more everything really, as he tried to learn how to become a great Jedi, like he thought of Qui-Gon Jinn, or his own master, Obi-Wan Kenobi. So today I want to bring you part of a book where Anakin questions being a Jedi, questions Jedi turning to the dark side, and questions if Jedi can ever actually understand who he is. It's an interesting passage from a part of Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship, part of their life as master and apprentice that we rarely get to see. So that's what I want to bring you all today. And just for some background as where we're at in their lives, Anakin's still very young, maybe just a few years after the Phantom Menace, and he's just overheard a story about a former Jedi named Xanatos. This was a Jedi that turned to the dark side, and Anakin wants to know more. Unfortunately, he quickly becomes frustrated, as Obi-Wan is not open as Anakin would want him to be, not nearly as open. In fact, he's frustrated with all of the Jedi for just not speaking like Anakin would understand most of the time. So that's where we're going to jump in today. Anakin trudged alongside Obi-Wan, wondering about the title of Padawan Learner. That implied that he was supposed to learn, didn't it? How could he learn when he never had the full story? Yoda was full of riddles. Mace Windu spoke in hints and allusions. Even his master, Obi-Wan, deflected most talk of the past, except for his affectionate or respectful references to his old master, Qui-Gon. Sometimes it seemed to Anakin that everyone at the temple spoke a different language from the one that he knew. It was at such times that he missed his mother's warm clarity, but remembering Shmi brought back an ache so deep that it would never truly go away. "At least we'll get a tour of the ship," Obi-Wan remarked as they waited for the turbo lift. "You've been wanting to explore it." Anakin had other things on his mind, and he asked Obi-Wan, "Who is Xanatos?" The question seemed to startle Obi-Wan, but Anakin had sensed something when Andra had mentioned the name. He'd felt something from Obi-Wan, something he wanted to know more about. "Not now," Obi-Wan said. "Shortly?" Anakin asked, discouraged. "I keep hearing that word. Why won't you tell me now? Is there some reason I can't know?" Again, he felt frustrated. It was hard to penetrate Obi-Wan's reserve. Obi-Wan studied him for a moment. "No," he said finally, "there is no reason you can't know. Xanatos was a former apprentice of Qui-Gon's. He turned to the dark side. He used the Force to build his own power. He was the head of the Off-World Mining Corporation and laid waste to the whole worlds. Life meant nothing to him." "Is he still alive?" Anakin asked. "He died on Talos," Obi-Wan answered. "He preferred to take his own life rather than surrender to Qui-Gon." He studied Anakin for a moment. "Now let's clean up and go out for the evening meal." Anakin went into his quarters. He felt a buzzing in his head, as if his thoughts were so numerous, so confused that they could not register. He could not take in what Obi-Wan had told him. He couldn't even imagine that such a thing could happen. How could a Jedi turn to the dark side? How could a Padawan betray his master? If he hadn't heard the story from Obi-Wan, he would have refused to believe it. At last, Obi-Wan had shared something real with him. There were times, especially early on, when Anakin actually questioned Obi-Wan's motive in taking him as a Padawan. He knew Obi-Wan had done it because it was Qui-Gon's wish. Was he a burden to Obi-Wan, Anakin wondered? Just a promise made to a dying friend? More than anything, in the whole world, Anakin longed to have the kind of bond with Obi-Wan that his master had with Qui-Gon. There were times when that closeness seemed so far away. Whatever was in Obi-Wan's past was a wound that went deep. He understood that. He had his own wounds. Maybe someday he would stand as a man, just like Obi-Wan, and feel the burden of it all lift. He thought again of Cad, cradling his father as he died, tears falling from his eyes. There were levels to compassion that Anakin still did not understand. How did someone go from transforming anger into mercy? How could anyone be that powerful? Frustration bit inside him. Obi-Wan tried to understand him. He loved his master for that. But no one could truly understand him. Not his fellow students at the temple, not his teachers, not even Yoda, who seemed to understand so much. Would Anakin always feel this apart from the others because of his background, he wondered? And would that feeling of separation mean that he would never become as great a knight as Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan? It was Anakin's greatest fear. He turned back now to the shelter of the spaceport, towards friends, warmth, light, and his master. The future would come, he told himself. At that moment, all he felt was grateful that he had Obi-Wan to show him the way. And that's where our story ends today, with Anakin talking about Obi-Wan, about Yoda, even about Windu, and just about his frustrations with the Council. I'm frustrated with the Council. And just all of it. Even at a young age, Anakin felt like he didn't belong. And we see that kind of explode in episode 3 when he, spoiler alert, he turns to the dark side. I know. Yep, the guy in this book here questioning how one Jedi could turn to the dark side was actually doing it. Well, he did it in Revenge of the Sith. I know, sorry if you haven't seen it. But yeah, what'd you guys think of this? Anakin at a very young age questioning all of this about the Jedi Code, Jedi Order, about himself and his master. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. And yeah, fanfiction yesterday. New one maybe tomorrow or the next day. I don't know. Schedule's all in whack. Either way, thank you all. Please do leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.